when you unlock your iPhone, like if you did the face scan, now they got your face scan. So it's like, yeah,
Who's they?
we've fucking higher ups, nigga, the higher ups. I ain't going down this rabbit hole in this pod, but there's a face. What?
Tony, where do you keep the tinfoil?
He's recording. He puts it away in his butthole, but then once he's done, he puts the cap right here.
Not to spread any conspiracy theories or anything, but man, my 5G signal on my phone has been so good since I got my vaccine.
Since you got the vaccine, dude, I got my vaccine scheduled next Thursday. I'm ready to unlock the 5 fucking G.
Is that so many people have been put in jail for such a long time. I think the shit has had like a detrimental effect in American history that I think we need to correct course. And I think we need to look behind as well as forward while we're correcting course. I think these laws have been outdated for a very long time, just like segregation laws were outdated for way longer than they needed to be.
Segregation's still around, buddy.
It absolutely is, and it's very sad.
We just call it gentrification now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You go into upstate New York, I guarantee
that's just the free market, baby. Yeah. That's what some people tell you.
I don't know anyone that would ever make a goofy statement like that.
You don't know anyone who would say those words. It's just me.
But I think it's just has to. I understand what you're saying completely, but I think it just depends on the severity of the law and how much disruption it's caused. And I think when you go back to 1930s and 1940s and you're still enacting policy and laws from all the way back then, and the severity of it just kept getting worse. And it's kind of like blaming a crackhead for being a crackhead. Like, oh, you should suffer the maximum penalty because you ended up getting hooked on a drug that ruined your life and ruined generations to come. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Not to say that I think every drug should be legal, but I think this drug in particular has been illegal for so long that a lot of the policies and arrests and shit that came with it were just very unjust. That it was just not right. Like, you're literally taking a section of the population. I don't know. It's weird. There's a Tom Segura joke that he's like, how are we going to explain this to our children? Daddy used to get in strangers' cars for drugs back in the day. I used to walk into a stranger's house and just be weirded out. And it's just like, how do you explain like why this shit was so bad? It wasn't really a bad thing. If you can now go into a store and purchase this shit like alcohol, why the fuck couldn't this shit have been done before? I think it was just a prison to a high school to prison pipeline. I think that this country revolved around it. When you put that type of shit into the stock markets, and when you start playing stock market with prisons and lives and shit like that, I think it becomes apparent that policy goes along with these things and keeping that prison to that children to prison to pipeline. Because who's doing it is young kids that don't know.
Sorry, I just want to be very clear. I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. You're saying that we're intentionally putting kids in prison because it's beneficial to society?
But beneficial to a certain aspect and a certain like I said, once you start playing stock market with human lives, I think you get into a very weird moral area that I don't know really should be played with.
The only ones who are going to jail are the minorities. You don't have a lot of white people going to jail for weed. I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if because of society or where you're being raised or whatever, but the majority is black people and Hispanics that are in jail for fucking weed.
And I think that's the issue. Me, myself, my own story, 2010, 2011, smoking weed in the park, me, my other Dominican friend, and a white friend. We all got caught smoking weed. Who got sent inside of a cell? Me and my Dominican friend, and the white friend got let off. So I think this is a very and for me in that situation, it felt very much so like they were trying to collect my information. They wanted my fingerprints. They wanted where I lived. They wanted some sort of documentation on who I was. Is how it felt. Because when I told them, I said, "All right, cool, just give me a ticket and let me go." And the Dominican cop was like, "You're not gonna tell me what to do. I'm taking you in. We need to know who you are."
You know what's beast too about that? I remember, I think it was a middle school or elementary trip. They took us to a jail and made us all do fingerprints. Like, oh, look how cool it is. And I did a fingerprint for each one of my fucking fingers.
I refuse to do that shit.
I told him, like, yo, I don't want to do this. Why am I doing this? Oh, everybody has to do it. I was like,
dude.
yo, I don't.
I feel like they were collecting people's shit.
They were collecting our fucking fingerprints, my dude.
Y'all got bamboozled, dude. There was some crimes they wanted to solve, and they were like, let's take this mostly minority school to prison and fingerprint them.
Yeah, bro.
Under the pretext of a school trip.
Shit. They literally did that shit, and I'm just like, whatever, bro. Like, they're saying everybody had to do it, so fucking care, you know, doom. They have my whole fucking information, and now that I think back, it's like, fuck. I'm in the system without ever being in the system now. You know what I mean? And then now it's even worse because now these motherfuckers got your face scan. When you unlock your iPhone, like if you did the face scan, now they got your face scan. So it's like, yeah.
Who's they?
We've seen higher ups, nigga. The higher ups. I ain't going down this rabbit hole in this pod, but there's a face. What?
Tony, where do you keep the tinfoil at?
Right.
Like right now.
Y'all playing games.
Right in this little...
When he's recording, he puts it away in his butthole, but then once he's done, he puts the cap right. He uncrumples it.
What do you think they're doing with that information, man?
Not to spread any conspiracy theories or anything, but man, my 5G signal on my phone has been so good since I got my vaccine.
Since you got the vaccine? Dude, I got my vaccine scheduled next Thursday. I'm ready to unlock the 5 fucking G. I got ultimate power in internet technology. I got the fucking COVID-19 5G shot.
This is gonna be the new shit. What kind of 5G do you got? I got Moderna 5G. Okay, so
you got that Johnson and Johnson. You got that baby.
You got the Pfizer, the Pfizer 5G. Like that shit might be.
Y'all being serious right now?
Yeah, I'm getting my Pfizer on Thursday.
Hell yeah!
My wife was like, "Hey, but I want the Moderna." I was like, "We want to not die from COVID, right, baby?" Like,
so is the visor the best one to grab?
Huh?
Is the visor the best one to grab?
No, it's just for me. It's like some neighborhood stuff, like how everybody will try. We are called the One Up Podcast, so this is like it draws back to like our neighborhoodly manners when you had a friend and you got the Moderna, but he got the Pfizer. So you automatically want to start drawing some levels like, oh, but I heard the Moderna.
Yeah, that's what you guys always apply to me. Like dickheads. That's what you guys did to me. Here comes Tony one-upping everybody. I don't even try to do it.
It's like when you're like, you put Dowie on J. Cole, and then I'm like, yeah, but I put Tony on J. Cole. And then, no, you didn't, bitch. And nobody wants to get one up. That's a double one up.
Did he say bitch or did he say batch?
Batch. That's how you said it. I did have one more follow-up question. Specifically for Dewey's thinking. Go ahead, Mother.
I got one more point to make, though. Talking about the One Up podcast. Do we become the Two Up podcast after Dewey takes 200 or 100 bathroom breaks? Is that? Do we get a coin every time he goes?
You know what?
We're gonna have to do something. All right, we're gonna have to look through the footage archives, and once that 100 happens, we need to do some type of celebratory something.
No, we need to make a Vegeta 9000. This nigga's. I'm in the vision, and this nigga's like, it goes down to my bladder. 9,000.
It's over 9,000. Yo, what if for the 100th bathroom break we all just record an episode on the toilet?
That'd be pretty beast. That would be pretty beast. There'd be 0 bathroom breaks right there. But
We can title that episode.
We're just pissing.
We can title that
Pissing
episode.
and shit, just letting nature take it. You know, just letting it. No.
You can title that whole episode "Small Bladder Awareness." Fucking just put it out there for Doughboy and his peoples.
There should be awareness. I just say
Just go
that
to the
right
doctor.
now, okay?
We're aware, dude. We see every time you get up out of that chair.
Everybody who watches is aware of your bladder.
Yeah, go put some Vicks on, dude.
Yeah, put
I
that
heard it
Vicks.
prevents.
Keeps the put some Vicks on.
Keeps it in there. It blocks the bladder's exit holes to the penile region, and it just allows you to just kind of keep it, just hold it in there.
R.I.P. to my grandmother's solution to all health problems, bro. She knew what she was doing. All right, you got an ankle injury, you broke your leg, ponte Vicks. Like you,
Pucho, we cut you off. You had one more point to make. We
I had a question. I like it though. My parents weren't too crazy about the vapor rub. Like pretty much for any ailments, like sickness wise, you know, they'll whip out the Vicks, but they were never like you know, you broke your ankle, like put some Vicks on it. There's some Caribbean people that are pulling moves. So that shit is a little ridiculous. But yeah, so I did have one more question about the specifically, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, right? Logically speaking, right? Because I feel like if you buy into this idea that if things were wrong before and they become right, we need to like undo whatever punishments we did on those people. I feel like if you buy into that, you also have to buy into the opposite. And again, to point out if I'm logically wrong here, but in my mind, that's how I think about it. So then you got to buy into the opposite, which is like, say tomorrow we make cigarettes illegal. Do we go back in time and find all the cigarette smokers and then like just hit them with charges? No. Right. I feel like it's obviously no, right? But does it not contradict with the other line of thinking?
I would say no, because in that situation, you have to prove guilt. You would have to go back and actually have a trial for all these people and prove, we have evidence that you smoked this cigarette on January 1st, 2021. We got video from our bird drones because we all know birds aren't real. We got video from our bird drones. And
where's your tinfoil? In your butthole?
I mean, don't we all have it in our butthole right before we start recording?
It'd be tough. It'd be a tough burden to put in that specific example because, like, you would have
butthole, to. Right? Tinfoil in your butthole would hurt. It's tough.
You'd have to smooth it out a lot.
Yeah.
Mateo's trying to explain. We're just here butthole play and all that.
No,
Cody, I can't control if you're gonna play with your butthole while I'm over here trying to explain.
No, I understand. But let's say you could prove it. Let's just say you had some proof that like it was true. Would it be okay?
No.
I feel like no, right? That's why I also feel like the opposite. It makes me uncomfortable too to just say like people decided to break a law they knew existed. Now in the future that law doesn't exist. Do we just expunge their records?
No.
Like I think marijuana in particular, I feel like it's caused so much damage to sectors of our society that that damage should be corrected. I don't disagree with that sentiment.
You know that part of the problem though.
But I feel like I'm inconsistent in that belief, and I'm trying to reconcile why I feel both ways. I understand that I am being inconsistent. I want to understand.
The only reason why you're doing that is because it affected us, the minorities. Go ahead, Mother.
Here's my question to dig into your feeling, your conflicted feelings a little bit more, Pucho. Are you pro or against reparations for slavery?
I'm pro. I know it's not question. It's not for me.
I think it's a very complicated thing, but let's say that we had like a magic wand that would figure out the ideal way to just do it at 100%.
Okay,
without a doubt.
So that is correcting for something that was illegal. It's not necessarily going back and punishing the people that were slave owners, but it's a correction for something that was previously legal and became illegal, right? Like it is the opposite viewpoint of what you're going for here.
Every slave was promised 40 acres and a mule, and they never got it. So what is that in today's terms?
There's a shitload of money that we wouldn't be able to afford.
It'd be a crazy amount.
But they deserve it. That's the agreement. I'm just saying that if we did it, it would topple society. And would it be worth it to topple society? Probably not.
I kind of like the way that they went about it in the Watchmen series. I think that like being able to just get just get like a no that boy, man, he'll punch you right in the face for that.
I better not say that around that kid.
But getting some kind of tax break, or you don't have to pay taxes ever again, like something like that could be feasible. It'd be complicated, right?
My thing is,
I feel like it's very complicated because there's a lot of black people in our country, my family included, that we didn't experience slavery at the hands of this country. So like I wouldn't be due reparations.
Yeah. That's my
Figuring
point.
out who is actually owed is a very complicated problem. Like, and then it's just like the descendants of, those slaves in particular, those slave families, they were promised that. But not all the offspring they've ever sired. Yeah. Now you're talking about millions upon millions of additional people that they deserve maybe a cut of that. But it was promised to the individuals of that. So like that's what I mean by it's a very complicated problem. Morally speaking, I feel like absolutely if we could do it like if Thanos could snap the perfect solution into existence, 100% on board.
You also have to, in my opinion, to weigh out the equation, you also have to include Jim Crow, segregation, gerrymandering, where people couldn't even get the people they wanted in their sectors because of how fucked up the situation was and for how long. Because like I think that in particular, voting laws, all these shits that hold people back from the actual fabric that makes this country work.
I think the government just goes around and they give everyone that ever experienced some effects of slavery or the Jim Crow laws and whatnot in this country, just give them 10 Bitcoin. 10 Bitcoin per person.
That's beast.
The hottest currency.
10 Bitcoin's a lot of fucking money.
That's a lot of
Bitcoin. You take 10 Bitcoin right now and you sell it, that's
about 50K, right?
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say it's like in the dozens of K, or maybe just at about 100K. Like, and that's nowhere near the value of 40 acres and a mule today. Like that's what right.
Well,
that's where
it depends. It depends on where you're buying land at, right? Because like
right. Now, yeah, 40 acres and a mule in New York City, and you're a billionaire.
In fucking Wyoming.
In Wyoming, it's like, hey, you got some corn, man.
Yo, I expect people in Wyoming to have to ride their horse to the library to get onto social media to complain about their Republican views.
Where do horses fall in the hierarchy in New York? Aren't there horse-driven carriages in New York?
I will tell you this much. I am not a cyclist, but fuck police that ride horses in New York City. These motherfuckers, they be shitting all over the place.
They don't have a shit catcher for them?
Shit all over the city.
They don't have a shit catcher for them? There's shit catchers for horses. You know that, right?
No, but not in New York. I'm going to give you an example.
Wow.
Scooter bro, riding maybe half a mile in front of me. He's booming and bunking. Like my man OJ Juice Man would say. Boulder Crest hero on this scooter. Okay?
Was he actually?
Yeah, no, he was gunning.
Boulder Crest heroes?
The terrain in New York is pretty rough, bro. For a very small scooter wheel to be going through these potholes, they have created these chunky wheel scooters. So I see him about half a month in front of he gunned. I was like, ooh, this boy really moving. All of a sudden, I see him fall off his scooter, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? There must be a pothole ahead. I gotta be careful. No.
I'm sorry I laughed. Sorry, Scooter bro. That shit was funny.
A gigantic pile of horse shit that he ran into that just diverted his whole trajectory and like fucked him over completely. And because on 42nd Street is so close to Central Park has a unit of horses that they ride through Central Park and stuff like that. I'm going to be completely honest, very majestic, very cool, but we have no use for horses in the city. This shit is kind of like neglecting these horses.
That man got banana peeled from Mario Kart, bro.
So the appeal.
He just did the horse just dropped the banana peel on these motherfuckers. Like, yeah.
So the appeal of the horses for the cops is they need to exercise them because they use those cops whenever there's riot control kind of situations going on. That's the reality of it. You saw a lot of this shit during the George Floyd protest. You saw that the cops would come out with the horses because horses are fucking frightening, man. Horses are scary, scary animals.
Have you seen the motherfuckers in New York? These dudes are riding like, go look up a Clydesdale. These are fucking massive. They're like a war horse. Their feet are like that fucking big, dude.
Those are the Budweiser horses.
You to death. They're the bomb. They're gigantic fucking horses.
Yeah, they're intimidation factor. It's like the full body armor and the riot gear that the cops have. Horse is way more intimidating than some dude that's doing roids and body armor.
I also think that's a little.
Here's a different question. Do you think that cops should have all this? Like, would you view a cop on a horse as like a form of military gear? And maybe military is not the right word, but it's gear specifically for like an intimidation factor. Like,
I think that's an interesting question because historically it was knights and like members of the military that typically had horses. Horses were not like a commonplace thing. You weren't a commoner and you had a horse. You were someone moneyed. You typically had some kind of military use for your horse. So I would say that they probably have a lot of militaristic vibes to them.
Shout out to, and not a good shout out.
Oh,
this is a motherfuck Trek bicycles, because in the riots during the summer last year, they provided the police with the bicycles that they used to beat and block protesters off.
Oh, I saw those cops holding those bikes over their head and hitting people with them.
So is that Trek's fault or Trek's fault?
Absolutely.
How?
Trek is willing to give the city, the police, thousands of bikes in order to beat protesters up and use
That's
those
not
bikes.
why they gave them bikes.
It is
Trek did not go out and be like, yo, NYPD, here's 100,000 bikes. Go smack the fuck out of these people. That's not what they did. They provided bikes to these officers so they can get around faster. That's because, yo, in reality, like, you can't blame Trek for that, bro. You can't. That's not their fault. It's like I make Glocks.
You can hold them accountable for the damage done with their property.
So you're saying you can hold. Hold on, Pucho. You say you can hold.
That shit makes me very uncomfortable.
That gets real complicated because this gets into like that whole gun thing of like, should gun manufacturers be?
That's my point. You can go to all these gun companies and hold them accountable for all these fucking dicks killing people. No, you can't.
So you go to Glock and sue them every time someone gets shot with a Glock.
You should go to all these liquor companies, be like, yo, I'm suing you for the killing of, when people driving drunk. No, my nigga, you can't do that.
But the interesting thing is sometimes we do, because bartenders can be held liable for over serving people and then them getting behind the wheel.
Bartenders.
And you're talking someone that's making minimum wage and they're just hoping to get good tips out of people to make their money. And then we also expect them to be some kind of like guardian superhero that's going to be like, oh, Tony over there's had 20 drinks. I need to cut that man off. Or like, I need to make sure he's got a cab or something. You expect to have a bar full of 150 people and be able to keep track of this shit. Or they're criminally liable if you go and kill someone in your car that evening. Like
that's a human thing, my nigga. You're going to go out and get drunk. Don't drive. Do not drive.
Yeah, but Mateo's saying that there's already a law that forces that responsibility on a bartender.
They pay me more.
That law should be revoked, Tony.
Which, granted, no. I think there are actually instances where they should be held liable, because there are instances where you can prove that they maliciously overserved someone or negligently overserved someone. But man, there's I don't know. I would hope that there is a huge burden on the prosecutor to prove that connection in those kind of cases.
In Delray, there's a spot called Tin Roof. It has open music on the weekend, like pretty good bands too, like, or people that play music, right? It's pretty fun. There's 2 bartenders behind the bar, 100 people at the bar. There's no way in hell, unless when they serve the drink, they're looking at you and they can tell that you're obviously blacked out. Yeah, I think you need to cut somebody off, like 100%. But yo, when you're going through the motion, you're trying to serve everybody, keep everybody happy. You don't have that second or you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, like.
I mean, what about when you're sending your boy to the bar and he's coming back with drinks for the table, or he's coming back with a round of shots for the table, or the girls that go around at some of these bars and they have like the Jello shots and like the test tube shots that you can just buy straight from homegirl with the little tray. Like, there's so many factors, dude. What if someone came pre-gamed and they came already fucked up to the bar? And
that's based on the security guy.
That happened to me once. I came fucked up to a bar.
When?
That was a disastrous evening. It was fantastic.
When?
That was me, you, Everett. We went downtown with my coworkers. Oh, that's for another day. We took like a dozen shots, and then we got in the car and we pulled up to a party bar. We were already gone. And we were buying drinks and 100%. The point stands. The fucking bartender did not know what he was getting himself into.
I've got a story at some point whenever we're doing the drinking night thing about y'all boys just remind me. Ask about a pub crawl I did dressed as a Santa. There's a pretty good story there. Well, that's another time. We'll get into that shit later.